Hi there, pretty people. Good morning, moneymakers. As I rode the XRP roller coaster, I felt like I was on a thrilling ride. I'm glad you guys chose to hang out with me today on Sunday Fun Day. First, I'd like to give you a quick rundown of what happened this week. Next, we'll look at what's coming up next week. We'll also look at some things we need to be careful of. We'll look at a possible XRP price forecast and someone who has been following the crypto market for a long time but hasn't heard of XRP. We'll also talk about that. All I ask is that you smile at me and hit the like button. Okay, so let's do a weekly review for those of you who haven't been following the crypto market around the clock like I have, or watching all of my videos this week. Okay, so President Trump signs an order that opens up $12.5 trillion in new opportunities. This doesn't mean that all of that money will go into crypto investments in 401k plans, though. Very, very important news. It was kind of put under the rug, but this is very important. Okay, after both of their appeals were turned down, the SEC and Ripple XRP are now in a legal fight. That, of course, was the big XRP news. President Trump signs an official order to stop paying crypto workers less because of their religion or political views. Of course, that's another big thing that takes place. In July, Canada lost 40,000 jobs, which was the biggest monthly drop since the outbreak. A BlackRock spot worth $116 million is bought by Harvard. Bitcoin ETF coins, or David Sachs, says that the order that President Trump signs will make crypto available to 90 million Americans. 82% of the businesses in the S&P 500 give quarterly estimates for their earnings. Even though there are fees, the SEC says that crypto liquid staking actions are not securities. Dubai publicly gives the first license for a crypto option. Also, Ethereum goes over 4,300 for the first time since 2021. That's pretty much everything that happened this week. Also, Bo quit, if you saw the film this morning, and the crypto markets had a really great week, right? We need to think about next week now, right? So some important things are going to happen next week. OPEC sends us reports every month, right? The oil report is on Tuesday. The July CPI inflation report is on Thursday. The July PPI inflation report is on Friday. And the retail sales report is on Saturday. This week, 5 Fed speakers are going to talk. The MI consumer mood data is also coming out, and it's a big week for inflation data. And the markets might be living on edge. Of course, this is the most important CPI print since the last one. But we all know that when CPI data comes out, the market can go crazy. So let's see. In a moment, we'll look at the plots and see what's going on with XRP and its price. Though Ethereum is above 4,000 and XRP rose and crossed 320 this week, there is one more thing we need to keep in mind. The apps aren't moving up in the scores, right? It's also not like the views are crazy, right? So a few weeks ago, it seems like every station that talked about XRP had a lot of views. And stations that may not have talked about XRP before started talking about it all of a sudden. On Sunday, we get 80,000 to 90,000 views out of the blue. They're back to, say, a few thousand now. It got a little interesting, but then retail lost interest. If you go back to 2021, right, it wasn't until Bitcoin went from $20,000 to $40,000 that the crypto market really picked up speed and went crazy. It went from being at a high point to doubling, right? That could bring us to somewhere around 140, right? For Bitcoin, it's because 68,000 was the previous high point, right? That's almost 70,000. That makes 140 if you multiply it by 2. It stands to reason that the market should come back around that band. Don't forget that Ethereum is still a long way off. You know, 4,800 was the all-time high. Solana's is really down. Some people are really down. Meme coins aren't worth nearly as much as they were in 2021. It looks like a lot of retail is still not interested and just sitting there, right? Also, Dan says, I think the world will wake up to this. And these scores will start going through the roof right away, especially if other apps follow Ethereum's lead, right? A good old Ethereum rise is the best way to get regular people back into the market, right? Bitcoin has been doing really well and is now worth $190,000. You can see that they're not crazy if you Google or watch movies about Bitcoin, right? They're not getting a lot of hits. But Bitcoin is $120,000. That means Bitcoin might not be that hot after all. I'm not sure. Is XRP hot? I'm not sure if it's that hot. What makes someone sexy and what gets you excited are two different things, right? I'm not sure. Everyone is unique. Each person is sexy on a range of levels, right? It will be interesting to see what causes the numbers to start going up and how that happens. Of course, that will give us a good idea of what might happen. I will never tell you to buy, sell, or hold because I don't know whether the market will go up, down, or stay the same. As you know, this is not financial help. Before you decide to invest again, you should always do your own research. It is very important to know that I have seen a lot of people on Twitter, especially our X or whatever you want to call it, saying, altcoin season has begun, right? And the standard suspects keep saying that they've been saying this for months. They say it over and over again every time the market goes up a little, right? I believe this is one reason why you might not be seeing as many videos on retail, YouTube, or Twitter, though Twitter has a lot of bots and other things like that, because many of these outlets build up the excitement and then let it go. Then they come to my comments part and say, all of you YouTubers are just making it up all the time. Plus, people who watch my show know that's not true. So I know who is a real viewer and who just clicked on one of the videos and chose to leave a comment. And I know through the comments who's who, right? XRP is at $3.20, $3.19, or almost $3.20 right now if we look at the world market. The stochastic RSI has healed almost all the way from the bottom to the top of the daily chart, which is interesting. We did see a small drop in this market, but that was in the morning. Now it's been holding steady, and you should be careful trading on Monday before the CPI. We've seen sell-offs happen overnight on Sunday and on Monday. Just be careful. I'm not sure if that's really going to happen, but this is what I know happened. It has happened before, and it might happen again. And it could be true or false, right? When you trade for a short time, you just need to be a little more alert. This alley prediction has been the subject of a lot of stories in the last few hours. I don't usually like talking about price predictions because nobody knows for sure what will happen. Also, the exact spot where the price will drop.